good stuff. He probably won't do too many bad stuff. But it's all about if Drinkwater takes advantage, gets a good platform and takes advantage, then he's got that composure and that kicking game to probably be the best half on the pitch as a result of that.
I think the halfbacks, Drinkwater's your best, then Brown if he performs, and then Roberts or Patton, and then Lange. So it's, I see that's fairly even there, really.
I agree. Let's do the front row then. Let's do the hookers, because this is a real interesting part of the pitch, because I think we've got two really good hookers here. Michael McIlroy had a slow start to the season. Obviously there was, the move to Catalan. He had to adjust. He had to refocus himself a lot, and he's done that now, and he's been crucial over the last couple of months. Darrell Clarke. Now, both of those two players are probably going to play 60 minutes at hooker. Darrell Clarke might play the full 80, but probably not the full 80 at hooker. But both players will play about 60 minutes of this game. Very different styles. Do you think that it's more a case of the styles suit the side and they kind of equal each other off in terms of how important they are and how good they are?
I would put Clarke above McIlroy.
Yeah.
I think, I think Clarke is a very, very good hooker. I think he's got the potential to win it.
He's a game breaker on his own. It's completely on his own. He doesn't
play the ball. He's got the scoot to him, and he really does find holes and hit them well, doesn't he?
Yeah, and he gets your team on the roll. He gets you up the field so fast. And in the big, wide open Wembley pitch, there's going to be a few holes that you can find around big forwards. You've got to think at some point, yeah. So, I agree. Probably slight edge there for Warrington as well, although McIlroy offers so much and is playing so well that you can't write that off at all. Then the props. We've already talked a little bit about the props. I kind of think as a foursome, or a 4 to 6, let's say middles, because no one's playing a ball-playing loose forward in this game, are they? It's going to be Benny Westwood, Joe Philbin, George King, people like that for Warrington. It's going to be Remy Castle, Jason Battieri, people like that. Anyway, so let's talk about the middles. I think Catalan just win. I think Warrington have probably got the best two of the whole bunch in Cooper and Hill, but I think it's strength after strength for Catalan.
Yeah, but I guess the only thing I'd wonder about is whether Warrington's big match experience in those players is greater. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Second row then will be obviously Bodine Thompson's cup tied. It's going to be Harvey Levett, we would expect, and Jack Hughes. Versus the two Benjamins, Garcia and Julian. Now, they've been really good in this run.
I think that this is where Catalan has the advantage.
I agree, yeah. I mean, Jack Hughes is a very workhorse kind of guy. He'll put a big effort in, but he's got mistakes in him. Harvey Levett, you can run at him. You can get by him as much as he can put something on you that you can't cope with.
I think when he first came into the team, he was great. He was a completely unknown measure. People raved over him, and rightly so. And he was bright ginger, so everyone noticed him. Whereas now, I think
there's a lot of ginger in that back row, isn't there?
Yeah, but now I think people know how to deal with him, and he's not as great as he first looked.
Yeah, I think with us going through all those sorts of positions, it's really enticing. Even where there's an advantage for one of the sides or the other, it's a small advantage. Other than maybe the wing positions, it's a small advantage. It's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it. The poll we put out, Sarah, has come up 61% in favour of the Catalan Dragons and 39% in favour of Warrington. Now, I'm not sure how much of that is Catalan for a day voting, but it shows that Catalan's the kind of journey they've been on this year, where we've got to in that journey, people are buying into it, and I think that's why, more so than actually what people think when they're looking at the two teams, more where they think they're at in that journey and how much that's excited us.
It's phenomenal, isn't it? When you think about, going back, 4 months, everyone thought that it'd be a battle between them and Widnes at one point.
Oh, completely, yeah.
And now
them and Huddersfield were, probably odds on at 2 months into the season of being in that bottom four.
Yeah, and then, suddenly everything's changed.
So 61% of the listeners think that Catalan Dragons will win. Now we've got a few more specific predictions from people. Do you want to take us through the first of these, and we'll rotate through a few, and then I'll have a few more that have come up on the Twitter feed today that I'll add on at the end as well.
Yep, so Dr. Bob Phillips says, Wolves by 2. Last try, 14 minutes from the end. They hang on despite having 2 red cards for blatant cheating to keep the Dragons out. Very early in the game, the ref has to be replaced because of a badly sprained ankle. They end up putting Caitlin Beavers in the in-goal, and she makes history again as the first female official in the Men's Challenge Cup final.
Dr. Bob Phillips has got a big crush on Caitlin Beavers, I think. Any Leeds Rhinos women's player he seems to have a big crush on. Interesting.
Very detailed prediction.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, Genghis Campbell says Catalans by 10. Gigo with a couple, I think he must mean tries. Chris Hill elbowing someone in the face and saying he's been bitten. Well, he's been known to do that on French people this year already.
Has, yes. Poor old Captain.
What's next?
Tim G says Chris Hill to do something needlessly grubby. Constant references to Samkins joining next year on the broadcast. Leg of lamb to be man of the match. Cats to win 30-20.
Fair enough. Okay, Gary Ormiston says Catalans 22, Warrington 18. Lance Todd award winner Kenny Edwards. I hope the moral vacuum doesn't win that, but you could see it happening. Probably not. Apparently he's been fined for tossing a ball into the crowd that struck a child and knocked a woman's drink out of her hands. I would guess he's probably been fined rather than other things because there's probably no real video evidence to judge it off, so they've had to go off witness accounts probably. That's what I would guess, but he's been punished all the same, and what a shocker, the moral vacuum has already had some sort of punishment handed out for his behaviours. Year 7 winner St John Fisher also, Gary Ormerson said, so obviously Wigan, a famous Wigan high school there in the competition for the year 7's final. Okay, Catalan fan
Mike Donnelly said Drax 24, Wolves 20. Sorry, Drax 27, Wolves 24. Josh Drinkwater gets man of the match and a big payday. Steve McNamara gets freedom of Perpignan bestowed upon him.
Fatboy Rob says Wire by 10. The size of the crowd will be mentioned every 30 seconds. Man of the match, Daryl Clark.
Soap opera for men said Catalan by 12. Man of the match, drinker water. To be too physical for Wire.
Alan Cale says tight first half, first points from a penalty, Wire to stretch away in the second half and to win by 10.
Langers says Warrington 28, Catalan 16, man of the match Ratchford, who scores 2 tries, 2 yellow cards, 1 each side, both of which would be straight red in a Super League game. Tompkins to be mentioned more than 10 times in the game. Warrington's heartbreaking loss to the mighty FC to be referred to constantly.
Neil Connolly at NeilC5017. Thanks for getting in touch, Neil. It's been a while since we've had something from you on the show, so it's good to hear from you again. Said Catalan 25, Warrington 12, Drinkwater man of the match.
Joshua's granddad said Wire win 18-14, man of the match Daryl Clark. It's always their year.
Paul O'Brien says Catalan 22, Wire 20, man of the match Drinkwater. That's a popular one.
It is. Carsten Broom said Catalans by 6 with Remy Casti as man of the match.
Ian Gatwood says Catalans to win 24-20. He says Greenwood man of the match. I suspect he's got himself mixed up and meant Drinkwater because that makes more sense to me.
Phil Nadin says, wow, I predict that I'll have at least 5 beers, a hot dog, chips and a Big Mac. I also think the Underground will be a pleasant experience and Warrington will win. Fair
enough. And David Cantrell says Scholars to narrowly beat Keighley in the more important match. We'll get to that other huge match this weekend, David, in a minute. We've got a few more ones to come that have come through during today that didn't get down into the rundown, so I'll run through a few of those. A few from down under. We had Mitchell Dart saying Warrington 36, Catalan 12, Wolves to run away with it in the last 20, Ratchford man of the match. Paul Michael Craig said Catalan's 20, Wire 18, Kenny Edwards to milk a last-minute penalty that Tony Gigo will slot over. Frogmore says Wolves by 13. Let's find some more that we haven't had already. Will64p at Cumbrian RL13 said Catalan's 24-18, Lance Todd, Mickey McAlorum. Chris McEwen said Catalans win 5-4, 2 penalties each and a Gigo drop goal. Hill sent off in the first half. Lee Whitnell, so Warrington fan getting in touch. He says drawing 12-all with 20 seconds to play, Tyrone Roberts will wear Chris Hill's headguard to bamboozle the Dragons' defence, allowing him the time to slot over the decisive drop goal in front of a record Wembley crowd.
Yes, and then Lee work up.
I think that's all of them. Man, that's a good range there. Actually, we've probably got a few more Warrington wins in those comments than we did from the sense of the poll. So it's pretty evenly split, isn't it? So it's going to be an exciting one to follow.
Yeah.
We will. You won't, because you're not going, but I'll be at the game, and Super League Pod will be represented at the game quite widely. I think a number of the SLP family will be there. Last year, we met up outside the ground in what is a play park, I think it's called, if you look on the map. But
we did indeed.
By the looks of what is growing up around Wembley Stadium, that area is shrinking. But so I'm not sure whether we want to meet up there or meet up in one of the nearby public houses. So I'm open to suggestions, basically. If anyone wants to meet up on Challenge Cup final day, I will be around the ground from, I would say, 12:30ish in the Wembley area. So if people want to get in touch, we will arrange something and we'll try and see everyone. Certainly, I know that I'll definitely spend some time with Dom and his granddad. They're always a great part of any big final occasion. And hopefully we'll see lots of other guys out there. Anyone who's listening who maybe isn't on social media, send an email to us, superleaguepod@gmail.com, and try and arrange something that way. Because I really want to meet up with anyone who we haven't met up with before. And yeah, basically just everyone get in touch and we'll work something out during the week. Okay, the game that David Cantrell mentioned, League One's Game of the Week, because it's the only game of the week. Also because it's, London Scholars' Friday Night Lights game, which they've ran with great success before the Challenge Cup final for a few years now. They're hosting Keighley Cougars. I mean, we're going to pick the northern side, aren't we, to win this one? I am. I'm going to pick Keighley to win, but Scholars to do themselves proud. Maybe 32-22 to the Keighley Cougars. I'm
going to go for Scholars.
Ooh.
I don't like Keighley.
Fair enough.
I'm going to go 24-20.
Okay, in the NRL, the Brick picks for round 24 involve the Raiders versus the Rabbitohs, so we're doubling up on your Brit teams there. Saturday at 6 a.m. and Dragons versus Bulldogs Sunday at 7:10 a.m. I think both of those will be Watch NRL app games rather than Sky coverage. Okay, but that is the world of Rugby League truly covered now. All that's left to do is wrap up the show. I've got a quiz. I remembered to write one. It is Challenge Cup final themed, so if you've done your research at home, you might have a chance. Okay, it is time to wrap up the show. Right, Sarah, that's episode 195. We're only 5 off the double centenary. It's been great having you back on the show again. And to celebrate having you back on the show again, I've got a quiz for you. It's Challenge Cup final themed. There's 6 questions. Are you excited?
That is certainly one word for it, yes. Okay,
well, I'm using relatively recent Challenge Cup final history here that we're going to go through these questions of. So we'll see if that's anything that can help you along, that little clue there. Don't know if you've swatted up at all, but I'm going to start with the first question, which is, can you name the 2 Catalan Dragons players who appeared in their 2007 final for the club, who have also appeared for the club during the 2018 season?
Probably not. Oh. Right.